legend of Ung the Unfortunate. Hoblins are simple creatures, some may also say savage. Humans often will avoid hoblins in their travels, for nobody wishes to be beaten to death by beautiful gemstones. Furthermore, no man surely would be foolish enough to confront these creatures alone, for doing so would mean a premature end for the adventurer involved. Even among hoblins there are superstitions and tales of woe. One such tale is of a hoblin most unlucky in life, named Ung, or Ung the Unfortunate, which had been exiled from his tribe in his youth for simply adhering to his natural instinct. One day, many ages ago, young Ung had been out with some warriors of his tribe, being poked and having rocks hurled at his thick skull, for he too was a warrior, but more portly and slower than your average hoblin. During this patrol of the perimeter, the group of warriors stopped in their tracks, stunned, and Ung looked up to see what his brothers were staring at as a rock hit his face. But this time, he was not fazed. High above in the sky, 4 beasts were engaged in battle. 2 smaller, 2 large. A dragon, accompanied by 2 drakes, were tearing and clawing at a thunderbird. A strange sight to see, but that being, the colossal lizard-like bird was not native to these kingdoms' mountains. Battling one another in the sky, as well as a duo of drakes, had been too much for the great bird to handle. With a final bite to its damaged wing, the thunderbird fell from the sky, and as it fell, the underbelly of the beast had torn open on a jagged rock of a nearby mountain. And with a deafening crash to the earth below, one that caused a brave warrior hoblins to flee, the innards of the beast spilled out, and the one hoblin that remained, Ung, had marveled at the sight of the most glorious shiny he had ever seen. Within the entrails of the thunderbird shined a green hammerhead, grasped tightly by the remains of a strange-looking dwarf. Ung's curiosity sparked and flared. He reached for a loose stone on the ground and proceeded to smash the hands of the statue to claim his astonishing shiny. As soon as he wrapped his hand around the bone handle of this curious hammer, it burned the bracer into his wrist and seemingly melded with his body. As hard as he tried, Ung could not let go of the weapon, but as quickly as he picked it up, he had forgotten about the pain. A surge of power flowed within Ung, and his intellect grew to that of a school-aged child. With faint breath, he spoke.
"Shiny, smash!"
Amazed by this, Ung ran from the scene and returned to his tribe.
"Shiny, smash!"
he exulted as he arrived. The chieftain of his tribe was stunned at the marvelous weapon, and Ung's new appearance, freshly burned flesh bonded with leather, and glowing veins in his arm. Quickly, the chieftain reached for the hammer, and made contact, but was thrown back ferociously by Ung as if he was entranced, like a mother protecting her young. Quickly, the village turned all weapons on Ung and attacked, but Ung fought back, smashing his brethren in a frenzy of swings. Before long, the chieftain, the shaman, and only a handful of hoblins remained. Ung was able to gather himself only to see most of his tribe slaughtered. In a fury, the chieftain exclaimed,
"Ung minka braksha!"
which means, Ung the Hoblin is exiled. Shaken by his own actions, and in emotional tatters, Ung turned and walked out of the village for one final time. Following his departure, Ung had tried to amalgamate himself into multiple Hoblin tribes. Sadly, the tale of his carnage, as well as his glorious smasher, would always precede him, so inevitably, Ung would end up a recluse, and more nomadic than other Hoblins as well. For a time, this mysterious hammer was altering his physique, and the viridescent veins and patterns running through his arm glowing brighter as the time wore on. And he no longer had the appearance of a strong but portly warrior, but instead that of a shaman hoblin, as well as his hands becoming oddly stronger and more muscular. What is more so affected is Ung's intellect. He feels deeply and questions his existence greater than that of any hoblin before him. Also, he can speak in human language, albeit crude and unrefined broken sentences. As he aged, poor Ung felt his loneliness deeper with each passing year, longing for a companion. On a particularly dreary day, Ung had noticed through the tree line of the forest a gathering of humans. He watched as they carried a box to the hole and dug into the ground. Ung was perplexed as he heard, "He's gone," and things of the nature of, "They will be missed." This seemed like the time he was buried alive by his brothers when he was young. Ung didn't understand that this was different, that the human in question had died and his loved ones were paying respects. Hours passed and the night fell upon the world, and Ung decided to save the poor man, seeing as he was locked in a box. He rushed to the fresh grave and began using his mighty shiny smasher to dig up the soil. Eventually he hit the box. Ung opened it and rescued his new friend.
Munga!
Ung shouted. "Friend." He excitedly grabbed him up and hoisted the body over his shoulder. All throughout the night, Ung had talked to his new friend as he walked to his temporary home, happy to have company. Over the next few weeks, the two would travel together looking for a home, but Ung could no longer stand the stench coming from his pal as it grew more pungent with each passing day. Eventually, they came up to a mountain pass covered in snow, and found a cave, which had looked cozy enough for Ung, so it became home for the pair. This home within the mountains of the Airborne Kingdom would be Ung's unfortunate last home. For Hoblins aren't accustomed to living in the tundra-like conditions of the mountains of the Ales, and coupling that with his age and relationship to the shiny smasher, it's sapping the very life from his aging body. It is said by humans who have seen Ung in his travels that the so-called shiny smasher he carried was the legendary Kolbekonker, and it is what sapped his life dry. And the last ever remnant of the Kolbekonker is said to be held within the high Aelborn Mountains, wielded by the frozen statue of Ung the Unfortunate.
If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.